What's going on, guys? Spikezillion here, and today I'm bringing you another deck profile, and I know it's been a little while since I've done my last video. I apologize for that. It's also April, which is crazy. I can't believe it's already April, but here we are with another deck list. I've been kind of hard at work with this one, and I wanted to wait a little bit, and I wanted to cook with it a little bit before I released the flowing juices of this beautiful deck. That being said, it's still work in progress. I'm not 100% feeling it right now. Like, it's not perfect yet. I think it's really close, though. And as you can probably tell, it's Harpie Kashtira. And I'm sure people have been looking at this already. I know the Harpie Discord, a couple people have already been looking at it, and we're kind of interested in it. And I wanted to really show off what it can do, and kind of give the flavor that I showed off with this deck profile. Now, there are a few things to note. One, this is super Nibiru bait. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you don't want Nibiru bait, don't play this deck. I'm going to be honest with you. This is hella Nibiru bait. With that being said, it's still a really fun deck to play. Most people will hit the wrong things. What's nice about this deck is that this deck has like 13 imperm baits for all things well considered. And, you know, Ash and all that good stuff. If they Ash and Imperm and I still have a cracked out hand, I literally could not care less. Because as long as they don't hit Arsenal Falcon, I'm blessed. We'll get to that in a minute, though. There's lots of goodies to be had in this build. But let's talk about what's in the list. So it's Harpies and Kashtiras, right? So what's the Harpie cards? We have 3 Channeler, 2 Lady Ones, 2 Perfumers, and 2 Pet Dragons. Why are we playing 2 of each? Honestly, the problem with Pet Dragon is that if you only draw Pet Dragon and you don't have a way to get to Channeler easily, it's kind of bad to play if you get 2 in hand, right? Whereas if you have 2 in like 1 in hand, 1 in deck, it's not so bad. You can still make plays later. You can't really play this at 1 because then you can't really make Harpie plays any further into the game to make more rank 7s. If you draw a Harpie, for instance, and you have another Harpie card in hand, so like let's say you had Channeler, you drew like Feather Duster and you wanted to discard Feather Duster, which is unfortunate, but you know, it happens. You know, you could still make a second Pet Dragon later in the duel, so it's fine. Obviously, it's not going to be easy to do any of that, because if you're fighting other Kashtira players, you're going to be seeing Fenrir left and right banishing your Channeler every time you do it, but it's fine. You're at least getting somewhere. So honestly, it's the best possible ratios I could come up with for now. The only reason I haven't dropped the Perfumer as well is because if I wanted to go Perfumer, Effect to Search, it's yet another Ash bait, but not only that, if I do get the Lady 1 off of it, then I'll have 3 summons if I go like Channeler to Perfumer to Lady 1. That way, I can keep a Harpie Lady on field for Featherstorm to be able to be triggered on my opponent's turn, while still making other plays. Like I could link off or whatever I want to do. In addition to that, obviously, this is 3 bodies versus 2 bodies with Channeler and Pet Dragon, so again, I can link off into Conductor IP and Avermax much easier that way. So that's sort of the 2 reasons why. Part of that as well is that if I get Pet Dragon plus a Harpie card in hand, it's still bonus, right? Because I go Pet Dragon special because Channeler's on field now. Then go Channeler effect, discard, special Perfumer, Perfumer effect. I could search 2, but I don't have a second target. So I go 1 Egotist and then go Egotist, special Lady 1. And then with that, with those 4 cards on field, I can make Avermax if I really needed to. It does come up sometimes. The other alternative is I could just make Dracosack, summon 2 tokens, and then keep the Dracosack on field plus Avermax. So that's something that you've seen in previous deck builds that I've shown off, I think. So that's something that's pretty neat. So yeah, I don't know. There's a handful of different options to go for here with the Harpies with this list still. I don't want to limit myself too hard, but I also don't want to brick my hand, so I don't want 3 of each of these. I also tested with Harpist for a bit, and it's okay. The thing that's nice about it is I get a search in the end phase, which is something I don't get with the current list, but the problem is that drawing Harpist just sucks. It's just bad. At least with Lady 1, it's only 1 Garnet, so it's less bad, right? There's only really 1 Garnet out of all the monsters in this list. I guess, like, Pet Dragon, technically, but I can still make Channeler through other means, which we'll get to later. So it's not as much of a Garnet as Lady 1 is. Lady 1 is just straight up, you got fucked. So, yeah. Let's talk about the Kashtiras next. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. 3 Fenrir, 3 Unicorn, these cards are broken. 2 Riseheart. Now, this could be 3. I might test 3 in the future. The only reason why I'm having it at 2 at the moment is because you usually only search it, and you don't really want to draw. It's not that it's bad to draw, it's just, it's not the best draw. Especially if you want to normal summon a Harpie, like let's say you want a normal Channeler, which would be pure bonus. It kind of puts you in a position where you don't really want a special Riseheart maybe, because you could possibly make Avermax, plus do some Xyz plays. Basically, you want to try to avoid locking yourself into Xyz as much as possible, and having 2 Theoses and 2 Riseheart is a good way to avoid locking yourself for the most part. But, like, even if you do lock yourself, it's okay. Like, you kind of have options. It depends on what you want to do and what your opponent has and all those things. So, depending on those situations, I may possibly put Riseheart to 3, but for now at 2, it feels pretty good. Ogre is at 1 currently. I might not have him anymore. I might remove him completely. There's a few reasons why. The main thing, actually, is because often I don't really feel like water helps me in any reasonable way. And obviously I know that's a really dumb thing to say because you have Planet, right? Planet boosts all your monsters by each attribute. But 3 is already good. Like, I don't necessarily need the 4th attribute to get another 100 points. And in addition to that, the only thing about preparations that I really like is for the Labyrinth matchup. So it's almost easier to just side these, which might be something I'll consider in the future, but I don't know if I want to go that far because that seems like kind of a dumb play to side 2 when I could just side 1 preparations, just hard draw it or something. Who knows? I don't know. It's not great. So Ogre I might take out, but for now he stays in because I do quite like the preparations. It's really nice to be able to special from hand or banished. So to be able to turbo that ad is really, really nice because Ogre can be searched through Fenrir or by other means, I suppose, if you did like banish for cost with Riseheart or something. I don't really have to explain Unicorn and Fenrir. Scareclaw Kash, this is another one that I think could go up. So if I get rid of Ogre, it's possible to move Scareclaw Kash to 2. There's actually a few reasons for this, but the main reason being is that I usually won't go into a Riseheart until after I'm finished comboing off. So I usually do a Riseheart near the end of the combo, which I think most Kash players do as well. But what I was thinking about it was, well, if that's the case, then why wouldn't I want to add Theosis if I got Birth in hand already through Unicorn, right? Then use Scareclaw Kash to banish the Theo. Use Theo effect to add whatever I banished earlier with Riseheart, right? And if I have more than one, it's going to be easier to hard draw Scareclaw Kash. So it's possible I could move this up to 2 and then put Ogre to 0. But for now, I'm leaving it at this because Scareclaw Kash is one of the ones that needs to banish. I think it needs to banish for the effect to be able to special summon itself. So that's kind of messy because I don't really want to banish from hand. So yeah, I could banish from hand though. I've done that in desperate times, but you know how it is. Anyway, that's that. We have one more card to talk about monster-wise though, which is Genex Ally Birdman. Now, Genex Ally Birdman's kind of an interesting situation. We'll talk about the combo later about how it works. But it's actually really interesting because it works really well to make AFD, which is super cool. I'm sure people have talked about it before in like Mist Valley combos, and likely I could play Mist Valley in this deck because of Genex Ally Birdman, but because of the fact that it's at 1 right now, probably no chance I'm going to be able to use this. The TCG is clearly not letting up on Mist Valley or Birdman. I think Mist Valley is like still at 1 in TCG. Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing, to be honest. If they ever put either of these to 2, ideally Birdman, that would be really cool. Because then, at least to 3, come on, like just give me the card. What's wrong with Birdman? Just let me have it, man. I don't know, whatever. Copium. It's just so stupid. Whatever. We'll show you the combo later. It's actually pretty neat. It comes up every so often as well, which is pretty funny. And people usually don't negate, which is very funny. Okay, let's talk about the spells. 2 Egotist. This could go down to 1 as well, and I did discuss with a friend, and he does believe that this could go down to 1. The only reason I haven't gone down to 1 is because if I banish it, like let's say it's on the crackback, and there's an riseheart on field for my opponent, if I go egotist, that's going to get banished. I can't grab this from banished in any way. Actually, as a matter of fact, with the current deck list, I can't grab it from graveyard or banished at all right now. So egotist being at 1 kind of sucks big balls, because if I need to use it a second time, I'm shit out of luck. So right now it's at 2. It's possible I can move it down to 1, depending on how I feel at that time. We have Feather Duster at 1. No shit, because I can search it. It's pretty powerful. Kashtira Birth. Now, this at 3 is pretty much mandatory. This is one of the best spell cards I have in my deck right now. And this is the one you neg, right? So theosis. This is at 2. This was a suggestion, and I'm kind of mixed on it right now. It's pretty good, because I do draw it fairly frequently, so that unicorn, even if it gets negged, I can still theosis target unicorn. So I see the reasoning for it. The only problem is I really don't want to lock myself into Xyz if I can avoid it. So it's okay right now. Obviously it's a really good card, but locking myself sucks, kinda. So I'm trying to avoid that. But for now, this is okay. We'll see how this goes. 2 feels pretty good. The Pressured Planet at 2. I can't afford this, so IRL, you're not seeing me with 2. This is just not gonna happen. I just don't want to pay for the second card, if I'm honest. Because I think this card's gonna get hit. If they don't hit this card, that's gonna be insane. I guess they might not. They didn't hit the other planet, which is whack. But anyway, yeah, this at 2 is pretty good. Not much I can really say about it. You really just want the activated effect, and that's about it. And I don't really want to draw 2, so having it at 3 seems like kind of bogus. So have it at 2, right? This is pretty good. Triple evenly. This is if I lose dice roll. Simple as that. I haven't been losing them lately, so L, I guess. It's possible I could take this out of main, but man, it's so powerful in main deck. It's hard to not want it in main, right? I don't know if I said that right. It's really nice in main. Featherstorm. I don't think this is a surprise to anyone. This card's broken. Searches Feather Duster even if it's popped. But then obviously the main effect is negating all monster effects your opponent activates from everywhere. That's pretty sick. Infinite Impermanence. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. At the moment, this feels like the right card to put in main. But out of all the hand traps, the other one I was actually considering, this is going to sound ridiculous, but just trust me on this one. But Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill sounds kind of lit when you think about it, because it's a card that doesn't have to be set. So if I'm going first and I get Imperm in hand, I have to set and pass, right? It's possible in draw phase someone could Cosmic that, and Cosmic has been going around quite frequently. In fact, I'm also siding it. So that's the thing about Imperm. It's kind of a mixed bag, right? I can flip up Imperm, right? I neg that column, but then they just avoid that column, and then they don't get negated on a monster. So you're losing a lot of the value. Ghost Warner's kind of interesting, because there's a lot of decks... there's almost no decks that normal summon. Flu is pretty much out of the game. Everything special summons. So, like, this is not a terrible card. There's also a good card for time rules, so in IRL, this actually might not be a bad card to pick, because of the fact that your opponent takes damage equals to the original attack of the monster if they remove the monster from the field. So it kind of puts them in a weird position, where if they want to make Xyz plays, I think that still counts, and they would still get burned. So let's say, for instance, they want to go Cowboy for game, for some fucked up reason. They basically can't, because as long as the monster is larger than 800 attack, which a level 4 is likely to be, they will lose, right? In time rules. So I think this is not a terrible card. I might actually possibly side this in, if not main deck it. If I do main deck anything, it's probably going to be Ash, though, to be honest. Over Imperm, and then I'll put Ghost Mourner in the side. But it's something I've been thinking about, especially because it says discard a card, so this counts under macro, which is super neat, because obviously a riseheart. So yeah, something I've been thinking about. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Ghost Mourner in this deck. I think it might be interesting. We'll see. And then we have Kashtira Preparations. I don't think I have to explain this one. This is a good card, in my opinion. I think people are sleeping on it. A lot of people have been talking about playing none of the Kashtira traps. Some people are playing Big Bang, like, are playing both, but I'm like, relax, buddy. I don't think Big Bang is that good. Like, Big Bang's insane in a vacuum when, like, your opponent doesn't have interruptions. When your opponent has interruptions, Big Bang kind of sucks. It just doesn't... It's not... I don't know. It's only an okay banished target for Riseheart, I think, because your opponent... You're basically relying on your opponent to not remove your Xyz monsters prior to this happening. So, anyway, yeah, preparations. Yeah, and then the side we kind of talked about already, but we have Ash, Nibiru, it's pretty obvious, Cosmic Cyclone. This is sort of a tech thing based on the meta right now, but I just wanted more back row removal, if I'm being honest. D-Barrier, this is what I've been thinking about, because I'm seeing Mathmech back in the format. Mathmech avoids this. It kind of sucks. But the problem is I can't really go Spellbound, right? Because Spellbound kind of sucks too. Yeah. D-Barrier is an okay card for now. Because Kashtira is more popular. But when we get to, like, a heavier Trap Tricks format, I don't know. It's gonna be weird, right? Because Trap Tricks, like, they're just gonna go into Sarah pass. What's wrong with them going Sarah set 4 pass or set 3 pass or even set 2 pass? You know what I mean? Under D-Barrier, so also Lab does not care at all about D-Barrier. So I don't know. It's a weird one. We'll see. For now, I'm keeping it in the side. And Royal Decree, I don't think I have to explain this one. Come on, guys. This card's broken. People need to start playing it more. But anyway, that's that. Let's talk about the extra deck. So we have AFD. You might be thinking, what the fuck is this doing here? And I can answer that for you. It does stuff. And it's a pretty good card. Yeah. Cyber Slash is here so that I can Featherstorm and bounce. So that's pretty neat. Dweller? I guess I should explain Cyber Slash. I don't know. I feel like if you've seen my videos already, I've already explained this card 100 times. But basically, when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, except during the damage step quick effect, you can target one monster your opponent controls or a harpy you control, return it to the hand. So it's a when you can, so it's already stinky. But most of the time, people will not have a good response to this. And then you just chain Cyber Slash, bounce a monster. So you go Featherstorm, your opponent cries, you chain Cyber Slash, bounce their monster that is just normal summoned because they're branded and they're getting cucked. And then hopefully they don't Branded Fusion, then you're good. Actually, I guess if they have Branded Fusion, just go into Masquerade Pass, but anyway, whatever. Copium. Abyss Dweller. This is a card. It's only really here for the tier Copium decks. They're still around, believe it or not. I've seen them a few times. Yeah. Zeus is Zeus. If anything, I could really put Dweller in the side, put Zeus in main twice, but I can't afford a second Zeus, so, like, IRL, this is, like, basically the list that you're seeing right now. A riseheart is a rise fart, alright. This is a good card. I don't think I have to explain this one. Shangri-ira, I don't think I have to explain that either. Dracosack is here for a few reasons. The thing about Dracosack that's really neat is it summons 2 tokens. Now, do I care about the 2 tokens being there to protect Dracosack? No, I don't, because I'm going to link them off and make Conductor, because this is 2 wind monsters. That's dummy. Obviously, I can't do that if I'm locked into Xyz, but, you know, it is what it is. At least I have the Dracosack setting there. I would probably never summon this if I was locked into Xyz. Big Eye. Some people aren't playing Big Eye, and I question the faith of humanity, because Big Eye is crazy. Obviously, Change of Heart is pretty much this thing, but as a spell card, and I get it. People want that instead. But Big Eye is kind of nasty, bro. Big Eye's kind of crazy, because we just have a 2600 attack monster, and we permatake. That's disgusting, right? So Big Eye's pretty good here. I've questioned the faith of people that are not playing this. Bagooska is broken. We can play Bagooska. with the lady one and the perfumer, or a channeler if there's no dragon on fields. That's pretty neat. Diablosis is Diablosis. I don't have to explain that one, I don't think, anymore. But yeah, we banish a lot of cards face down. We're gonna make people cry very hard. Arsenal Falcon. So this is where we get into the spice, okay? This is the spice, alright? So we make Arsenal Falcon using 2 Kashtira monsters. We detach one, which we're gonna birth later, probably. And then we special channeler with this thing, because it's level 4 Winged Beast monster from your deck. So, with channeler, we get to start doing all the harpy combos. Pretty hot, right? And then we have Flare Metal Dragon. This is pretty much if I bricked hard enough to have Channeler and Pet Dragon on field only. So I just go, okay, Flare Metal Dragon, pass. This is also really good for decks that have to do like 100 different things, and they just get burned to death. So basically like Marine Cess and like Pendulum decks, I guess. DDD, I guess, if they can't bounce me. Because it's indestructible. Well, it has Exceed material, which is very balanced. Yeah, so anyway. I already talked about Conductor. This is a Harpie card. It's good. IP is here to make Avermax indestructible, which is pretty sick. And also dodges stuff like Lightning Storm. And then we have Avermax, who is untargetable, indestructible, the only monster you can target in battle. And once per battle, we gain the attack of the monster that we're fighting. Once per battle, not once per turn. And we non-target shuffle a card on the field if we're sent to the graveyard, which is pretty hot. So in general, this guy is a pretty sick monster, and he's probably the best Link 4 we could possibly make. So that's that. The only other Link 4 I could think of making is like Boral Sword. I think Avermax is the right play. So yeah. Anyway. Enough talking. It's been 21 minutes, almost 22 minutes. Let's get into the actual combos. Well, if you ever did want to see the hand of all time, this is pretty much the hand of all time. Yeah, let's begin. Alright, we're going to start with a special of Unicorn. We're going to go Unicorn effect. Okay. Now, this is when your opponent ashes you and you cry a little bit, but that's okay. We were going to add a theosis, okay? Trust me, this is fine. I know we're going to lock ourselves, but it's okay. Nobody cry yet. We're going to make a crazy Xyz board. We're going to activate Birth here. We're going to normal summon Fenrir. We're going to go Fenrir effect. We're going to search for Riseheart. Right, now Riseheart is here. Okay, that's all well and good. Actually, correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, that is not the play, because we're going to lock ourselves either way. So what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to search for Scareclaw Kash. Right, this will be quite greedy, but that's fine, right? Now we're going to go Theosis, target Unicorn, right? So we're going to go Theosis, target Unicorn. We're going to special Riseheart. Gonna be in defense. That's fine. Okay. Now here, you can go Riseheart effect. Or, right, we could go into Shangri-ira here, then go Riseheart, right? Because then Shangri-ira is going to start doing crazy shit. But we want to get into the Harpie cards first. So we're going to just go Riseheart here. It's fine. We're going to banish for cost. Here we're going to banish for cost. We could banish an ogre and get the preparations if we wanted to. That's not too bad. It's probably our best bet here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we would want other than that, because we need to be able to special this monster. I think we're going to grab a Fenrir here to be safe, right? And then your opponent's going to banish top 3. That's great, right? Then here we can go banish Scareclaw Kash, right? Whoops, not banish. Special Scareclaw Kash. Banish Theosis here, right? And then go Theosis effect, target Fenrir. We're going to add the Fenrir to our hand. Okay. Now we have another Fenrir in our hand for the crackback. Now we can go overlay these two. Probably these two, actually. I like these two the most. Into Arsenal Falcon. Okay. So now this is when your opponent can Nibiru at this point. Obviously that's unfortunate. If they have it, whatever. But this is a cracked out hand, keep in mind. This is assuming no interruption. So we're going to go Arsenal Falcon effect. We're going to detach for cost. And a special channeler. Okay. So we're here now. Pretty good, right? We still have a birth to special. We can special back this unicorn. That's pretty neat. Although I think we're going to try to keep this fenrir on field as much as humanly possible. So we're going to special pet dragon here. I think we might be able to get both of them actually on field, which is pretty neat. So we have Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fire Blast here. So now Channeler is level 7 because of Pet Dragon being on field. Any dragon makes it level 7, right? So that's where we're at. We can make a Riseheart here if we wanted to. We can make Shangri-ira plus Diablosis, then use Shangri-ira effect, banish, and then make a Riseheart off of that. I think that's actually a better way to go about it. So let's do that. So we're going to overlay these two into Shangri-ira. Oops. I want defense, please. Thank you. We're going to move him up here. I don't know if it's going to let me. There we go. And then we're going to put Diablosis here. So this is one way to go about it. Unfortunately, with this route, we will only get one fenrir or one unicorn on field in the end of it because of birth, but that's fine. So here we're going to go Diablosis. Right. We'll go Diablosis effect. So we're going to banish one. Then we're going to go on resolution, Diablosis 1, Shangri-ira 2. Right? We'll put like a monster zone probably. We'll lock it. I prefer to lock out the monster zones by default now, even though back row decks are a thing and they're kind of a pain in the ass. And then yeah, Diablosis is going to go off there. And then on res, Shangri-ira effect's going to go off again. We're going to get another monster zone locked. Right? So we have 2 monster zones locked, but it doesn't matter because we're just going to make a Riseheart. Now, another thing that we could do theoretically here is we could actually just make a Riseheart using the monster we're going to birth to special here. But I'd rather keep a Fenrir plus a Riseheart on field. So we're actually going to go with this route. There's a few reasons why we're doing this rather than keeping the Shangri-ira on field and locking out a million zones. But the main reason is that, unfortunately, if we go a Riseheart with only one mat, it kind of leaves the room open, and they're going to have it in draw phase if they deal with a 3-mat Riseheart off the rip, which is what we have here. Now we're going to go Birth Effect to Special. So now, if they Lightning Storm, they're only going to pop Diablosis and Arsenal Falcon, because both these are in defense. Book of Moon is still a problem, however, and Book of Eclipse as well. Mostly Book of Moon these days. It feels like people are steering away from Eclipse because of Ash, which is very unfortunate for me. Solar Eclipse is another one I've been looking at, personally. But, yeah, your mileage may vary. For now, this is pretty good. Now, you may have noticed I put a Featherstorm in this hand, and that's because your opponent could theoretically try to Nibiru once Channeler comes out, and I've seen a few people try to do it, but you could just chain Featherstorm, right? Because Channeler is out at that time. Now, in this current board, you can't Featherstorm, but it is something to consider. If anything, you can always set it, and then if it gets popped, it has to go to the graveyard, I think, for the effect to resolve. No, it's just destroyed. Never mind. I can add Feather Duster from deck, which is pretty neat. So you could always set it if you really wanted to, but I feel like you might as well just keep it in hand, and then hope you just draw a Harpie card, which we'll see if we hit one. No, we didn't. You know, that eventually we'd hit one. So that's kind of the way to go about it. Now, here's another thing that's really interesting. Let me show you this neat combo to get Channeler to make a rank 7 play with AFD. Now, this may look like a bit of a goofball-ass hand, but trust me, this hand is still cracked. So the only major differences in this hand between this hand and the other hand is Fenrir instead of Unicorn, Perfumer instead of Featherstorm, and Birdman instead of... I don't even remember what else I had in here at that point. Just go with it. Alright, we're going to special Fenrir. We're going to go Fenrir effect. We're going to search for the Unicorn here. Right. Now we're going to activate Birth, we're going to normal summon Unicorn, we're going to go Unicorn Effect. Unicorn Effect, we're going to get Theosis here. So it's going to be still pretty similar board here in this situation. We're going to go Theosis, targeting Fenrir, for example. And here we're going to go, we could go Riseheart, we could also go Scareclaw Kash, but we're just going to go into Riseheart so that we get Banish in here. So we're going to go Riseheart Effect here, we're going to Banish for cost. I'll banish a Fenrir for cost. Right. And then we still have a Birth Effect to Special.
which we can do basically at any time at this point. But here we're going to go with the Arsenal Falcon play once again. So we're going to overlay these two into Arsenal Falcon. Arsenal Falcon effect, we're going to detach. We're going to special channeler. Now this is where it gets funny, right? Now this is where it gets funny. Okay. So, we're going to go channeler effect, discard perfumer. We're going to special perfumer. Perfumer effect, add egotist. I'm going to activate egotist. We're just not even going to put it on the field. We're just going to go for it. Okay? So, we're already Omega Nibiru bait at this point, but it's fine. You noticed I also haven't used Pet Dragon yet, but that's fine. We don't need it right now. So we have a lot of fodder here. We have locked ourselves into Xyz, however. So, kind of a weird position, right? You can very well just make Dweller here if you have a tier that you're trying to get rid of. There's a couple things you can do here, but let's say, for instance, we did not go Theosis. Let's say that we ignored Theosis entirely. So what would happen then? So what would happen then is it would look something like this, right? Theosis is just not here. Or rather, it's in our hand. And Riseheart is in deck, right? We have not used Theosis yet. Let's say we went this route, right? We have not gone with Theosis yet. We still have Birth, we can still special and do all of our plays. But we have detached a unicorn. All of this is still the same. We just haven't locked ourselves yet. And that's what's important here. So we want to not lock ourselves. So, at this point, we still can synchro or link, which is big, right? Now we're gonna go Birdman effect. We're gonna bounce channeler. Okay. Note that we have normal summoned at this point. Okay, we still have, right? But we're bouncing channeler. We're gonna special Birdman. Okay. Attacker defense. I really don't give a fuck. We're going to synchro here. Here I'm going to use the attack position monster just to be safe. We're going to make AFD. Okay, so AFD is here. Now, if there's a field spell on your opponent's side of the field, that's pure fucking bonus at this point. I'm going to assume that it's not. We're going to assume worst case scenario is no field spell on the other side. Because we're going first, right? This is a 5-card hand. We're going first, right? No bullshit. So, we're going to go effect to special from hand. Special Channeler. Now, isn't that funny? Because now Channeler is level 7 because Ancient Fairy Dragon's on field. That's funny, isn't it? But it gets better. Because we're going to special Pet Dragon. So now we have 3 level 7s. And a Perfumer on field. Isn't that interesting? Now, obviously, I don't have Featherstorm in hand right now. So, it makes it a little bit less good to have a Perfumer sitting here. But we could also link if we really wanted to. I'm not saying that it's a good idea here, but you could just link into Avermax right now. But in this case, we're going to keep moving forward. So here we're going to go... Actually, what do we want to do? We have a lot of options. That's what's kind of neat, right? You have a lot of variation here and a lot of versatility with how you could go about this. Because we could go Shangri-ira. We could do literally almost the exact same board as last time. In fact, I think it will be the same board as last time. If we overlay these two, they'll make Shangri-ira, right? So Shangri-ira is going to be here in defense. Okay. And then AFD with a birth effect of special. We'll special this unicorn. Right. Then we'll then with these two we can make Diablosis. But first we're gonna go Theosis targeting unicorn. This is gonna give us yet another Fenrir if we wanted to. In this case, I will be going with the Fenrir. So this banish is kind of unnecessary, but you could pretty much put whatever you want here. It really doesn't matter in this case. I wasn't thinking that far ahead. That was completely my fault. I will own up to that in the video. But that being said, we're here now, right? This is all well and good. We're going to overlay these two now. Put them over here. Into Diablosis the Mind Hacker. Okay. Then we're going to go Diablosis Effect. We're going to detach the unicorn, right? Now we have lots of options. We're going to banish a card. We're going to put We're gonna go Diablosis 1, Shangri-ira 2. We're gonna put more stuff locked up. And then, after all that's said and done, you can use either the Fenrir here or the Shangri-ira to make a Riseheart. In this case, I think I'm actually going to use the Fenrir, just so that we have plenty of dangerous stuff happening here, and the opponent's kind of feeling the fear. I don't know what else to describe it, but I think this is the best possible play. Is now we have a Diablosis, Shangri-ira, and a Riseheart on field. If you can tell how crazy this is, like, I just need people to understand, like, look at how ridiculous this board is. Now, obviously, a Riseheart 1 mat is less interesting. You could just go Shangri-ira and make a Riseheart off of that. But in this case, I just wanted to showcase that you could have 4 Xyz monsters, one of them having A of D as material. Like, this is crazy, right? This is totally usable. And the best part is that we didn't lock ourselves until later into the turn, because it says for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, which is pretty amazing. We didn't even use we didn't even use regular Riseheart for this, which is insanity. We pretty much didn't need to. The Fenrir was made, though, in this situation, strictly to have Fenrir on field if someone tried to, I don't know, do something like Nibiru, for instance. Because even if they activate Nibiru and we Featherstorm it, we can still do Fenrir on res, which is pretty fucked up. So yeah, something to think about. But yeah, with that being said, this is a pretty strong board. I don't know about you. I can't think of any other things I'd like to do with this. I'd like to show you combo-wise, but let's get some random hands going. Let's get one random hand going, and I'll kind of showcase what can go wrong with the deck, because there is some consistency problems still, and I think Prosby would be a big help with that. This is a really good hand. This is kind of not showcasing what I was talking about, but we're going to activate wraithsoth. We're going to add Fenrir. So in this situation, what you're going to see is we're not going to be able to do a Harpie play, pretty much. What's nice about Birdman in this situation, though, is that if anything, let's say one of our Kashes get impermed, we can just Birdman them, and then we can activate Birth here and still normal the same monster. Obviously, that's not ideal, because you'll likely get impermed on the activation of the effect, which is hard once. But you can at least still banish stuff if they go for monster effects in your turn. So it's something to think about. So here we're going to special Fenrir. We're going to go Fenrir effect. In this case, we almost could just get another Fenrir. But for the sake of making a crazy board, we're going to grab Scareclaw Kash here. Where are you, Scareclaw? There you are. We're going to activate Birth. We're going to normal summon Unicorn. Effect. Grab Theo. At this point, Theo is pure fucking bonus. Not even going to sugarcoat it. So here we don't even need to make Arsenal Falcon. So what's kind of neat about this is we kind of get free reign to do whatever we want here. A lot of options here. I think here we're going to make Shangri-ira, I think. With these two. Just so we can go off. So Shangri-ira. Basically, this is going to be... I'm pretty much showing off a Kashtira deck at this point. I don't think I need to explain to you how crazy this is. Because it's mostly a Kash hand, let's open up another hand. Let's see what happens. Now, this hand... This one's a little bit stinky, but we can still make it work. So here we're going to special Fenrir. We're going to go Fenrir effect. We're going to go with... it's kind of a weird board. So here we're going to go Riseheart. And the reason why is because we can special Riseheart. We're going to special Riseheart. We're going to activate effect. We're going to banish a unicorn here. From here, we're going to make Arsenal Falcon. Arsenal Falcon effect, detach. We're going to special a Channeler from deck. Channeler effect, discard Lady 1. Special Pet Dragon. Right? Featherstorm is live here, if that's necessary.
we haven't normaled yet, actually. It's kind of interesting. In fact, what's neat about that is, I'm going to back it up a little bit. So we're going to actually discard Feather Duster here. And the reason why, off of Channeler effect. And the reason why, is because we could actually normal summon this Lady 1, which is very funny. Normal summon Lady 1. And we can still Featherstorm on my opponent's turn. And make a rank 7 with this. So with these two, we could make Diablosis. And Diablosis is going to cause a banish 4 from top deck on my opponent's turn. Or no, on my turn, rather. Or I could also go Flare Metal Dragon here. So there's actually a few options. In this case, I'm going to go with Diablosis here. Right? Just because I want to get my opponent to start milling. Now, again, I have Featherstorm. So on the next turn, I'm going to have Crazy Crackback. Let's say that they are completely fucked. They're not playing Runic or something. This is not a great draw, but we can make it work. Things what we can do here. We can make Bagooska. Sorry, let's pretend that I detached and all that shit. So let's say that they've banished top 4, or they've banished a total of 8 face down cards right now, and I've Featherstormed. So now Diablosis is on field still, Arsenal Falcon's on field still. Alright, so this is all well and good. Now we're back to my turn. We could Diablosis here to banish another 4. Trying to think of ways that I can make Channeler go nuts here. Because let's say that we did in fact Featherstorm, so this is gone, right? If we special Winged Beast with Arsenal Falcon, we could actually... I think we'll have enough monsters to be able to make... we could make an Avermax, including the Arsenal Falcon, which is pretty nuts. Alternatively, we could make Cyber Slash, which is less good in this situation. Or we can make Bagooska into Zeus. So we have a few options here. In this situation, we're going to detach Arsenal Falcon. Special Channeler. We could also special Perfumer here, but in this case, we'll just go Channeler. We're going to go Egotist here. Special Lady 1. From here... ideally, it's like branded or something, and our opponent normal summoned here, right? So Diablosis is gonna go batshit crazy this turn. So here, what we'll do is we'll go Link 2 into Conductor. Link 2 into IP. And then Link 4 into Avermax. Now, the only reason we're able to do this is because we're not locked into Xyz right now. Diablosis is still here, which is great. So we're doing 58 damage right now. We're going to go battle phase, right? And we're going to swing in with Avermax. Do 3,000 to the monster. Or we could go Diablosis swing in for 28, which is great, because if I destroy a monster by battle, I can target a card in my opponent's graveyard and banish it face down. So that card that I just popped, most likely, right? So that's pretty good. So now they're going to be at 9 banished FD. And then I swing for another 3,000. So let's say like it was a Luber. A Luber is 18, I think. So I would have done 4,000 damage, right? Now I'm in main phase 2, right? Now I go Diablosis effect, detach, banish another face down from extra deck, right? So now we're at, what is that, 10 banished FD? Yeah. And then we go on res, Diablosis effect. Now we're banishing 10 face down from my opponent's list, which is crazy. So pretty much I've banished face down almost half their deck, and 2 cards from their extra deck so far. So this is still playable. This is still very good. The only problem is that things like Evenly Match would just absolutely shit on this. So it's something to look out for. But yeah, that's basically the list, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something useful, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and comment. Let me know what you think about the deck list, things that you would change or things that you would add to the list. I've tested a few things like Destrudo in that, and it doesn't quite work, but it's fine. Yeah, if you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.